Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys have had a fantastic weekend. I'm jumping back in here because I want to talk to you about invisible disease. Now, you've probably never heard it called this before. Maybe you don't identify with what you're experiencing as an invisible disease when you first hear, but when we start to dive in a little bit more, you're probably going to realize, holy shit, that's me. So what is invisible disease? What I mean by that is many of us who are hanging out in this group, myself included, have been through tremendous health issues that can't always be seen by the people around us. And it can be very, very frustrating when we're going through a health journey and a half. Suffering through our gut issues, whether it be diarrhea or constipation or bloating, whether you're experiencing extreme fatigue, sleepless nights, food reactions, pain, acid reflux, inflammation and swelling in your body. These are all things that they're not always seen by the eye. So the people around you don't know how much you're suffering unless you tell them. And so it can be really an invisible disease, a real invisible experience that other people around you don't realize that you're having. Now, here's the real problem is that sometimes when you go to explain to your family or your friends that you're having this experience, you have these imbalances in your body, you have this sickness in your body, and they look at you and they're like, you look fine to me. Suck it up, buttercup. Get to work, right? It can be so deeply damaging to hear these things, to feel unsupported, to not be seen and heard and believed and understood by your family, by your friends when you are suffering. So I want you to first know that everything that you are experiencing makes sense. It makes sense to me because when we have pathogens, when we have toxicity inside the body, the symptoms that you're experiencing make perfect sense. So you are not crazy. And a lack of understanding from the people around you is just that. It's a lack of understanding. It does not mean that what you're experiencing isn't real. It's not that it's not valid. It's very real. It's very valid. And so what we have to learn to work with here is the feelings that it leaves with us, because when you are suffering and then on top of that you feel unsupported, it can really make this healing journey feel a lot harder. And so I want to share with you that I understand how that feels, because when my husband and I, Eric, we were exposed to toxic mold in our previous home, that wasn't something that the people around us saw. We didn't even see it for the 3 years that we lived there because it was happening behind the baseboards, behind the drywall. And so it was really difficult for my family to comprehend why I had become so sick from this thing that they didn't see. And even when I'm like, yes, but there was mold, they're like, yes, but we don't understand. Like, you've got it, you're fine. Like, you look fine, right? You're not in the hospital. You must be fine. You must be being dramatic. Has anyone ever felt this way before? Has everyone ever said to you, just eat the food. It's going to be fine. Don't be so extreme about it. Why aren't you eating all these foods? Why do you always isolate at home? Why are you so tired all the time? Get up and get out there. You got to go live your life, right? I used to hear this all the time. My family just didn't understand how much pain I was in. So they were super loving and supportive. They would say, you just got to get out there and get some fresh air, Alyssa. Get out there and go for a walk. And I'm like, you don't understand. I can't fucking walk. I'm in so much pain, right? And so what you're experiencing is real, and your family are coming from a place of loving and caring about you, but they don't understand. So what do we do? What do we do when this happens? What do we do when your husband or your wife might look at you, your partner might look at you and say, I don't get it. I don't understand why you're doing all of this. I don't understand why you can't just like pull it together. Why are you so miserable? Why are you snapping at our kids, right? Why? What do we do when that happens? I want to give you some really tangible tools today, because doing this alone makes it so much harder, guys. There were moments of sitting on the bathroom floor crying. And I know you guys have had those moments too. And I want you to know that you're not alone. And I see you, and I hear you, and I believe you. And in order for us to feel supported, we have to do a couple of things. So when we are working with people who don't understand what you're experiencing, the first thing that we have to do to feel supported is to support ourselves. Now, hold on here. I know there's a part of you that's going to be like, fuck that. I am ready to feel fully supported by the people around me. I'm too tired to do this myself. And I hear you, because there were moments where I felt too, where I was like, can't I just have someone support me for once? Have you guys felt that way? Many of you guys who hang out with us here in the Love and Trust Your Guts, Love Your Guts IBS support group. The Love and Trust Your Guts is our program. The Love Your Guts IBS support group, our Facebook group. Many of you guys who are hanging out inside our group are the types of people who are pouring into others. You have the kindest, biggest hearts, and you want to help everyone around you. You want to help everyone around you. And so what happens when we pour into other people constantly is we get resentful when people don't know how to pour back into us. Right? So when we're looking to feel supported, it can be very frustrating, because it's like, God, I'm constantly pouring into people around me. Where are the people at when it comes to me? Why is it when I'm struggling, no one's around? It's like a ghost town. Why when I can't eat a specific food, why can't my spouse cook me something that I can eat? Why do I have to cook 3 different meals for all the family? Why can't someone cook me a nice meal? Right? Why can't someone take the kids off my hands so that I can take a nap, get some rest? Right? Why can't these support things happen for me? So the very first thing, again, in feeling support is we have to be able to do that for ourselves. Because if we're not supporting ourselves first and foremost, people can be pouring into you and you won't see and feel it and hear it and experience it. It's kind of like that old saying, you have to learn how to love yourself before you can love anybody else. This applies here too. So what does supporting yourself really look like? First of all, we have to see, hear, and understand what we are experiencing and validate that for ourselves. Right? So many times I see clients come into our Love and Trust Your Guts program, and they're experiencing gas and bloating and diarrhea and constipation or whatever's going on for them, and they're like, this stupid body. I just fucking can't, I get just so frustrated with my body. Why doesn't it cooperate? Why won't it heal? And do all these things so you see, they get really angry. They're on a different page from their body. And so they're almost getting upset with their body instead of saying, hey, body, you're struggling. Come here. Right? So what we have to do when we're supporting ourselves by validating ourselves, we have to almost look at our body like it's our little child. And if you had a little child, would you ever get angry and be like, you stupid child, why do you bloat on me? Why do you get diarrhea? No, fuck no, we would never do that, right? I would hope not. No, we would never do that. If we had a little child who was upset and was struggling, we'd be like, baby girl, what's the matter? What are you feeling right now? Right? So when validating yourself and your experience, I want you to look at your body like it is a little child, your little child, and you're going to nurture her. And you're going to say to her, listen, body, what you're experiencing makes sense. I see you. Okay, I know you're angry. You've got some diarrhea going on today. All right, you're bloated today. What can I do to support you? So you have to see and believe and understand what you're experiencing for yourself first and foremost. And it doesn't mean you got to figure out, you got to know how to fix it yet. You just have to acknowledge what's going on for you. Okay, the second step to that in acknowledging and honoring the space that your body is in is going to be making an adjustment to your lifestyle potentially. Depends on how you're operating. So if you're seeing your symptoms and you're frustrated with your body and you're like, you stupid body, you're just not working the way I want you to, and then you're trying to push your body, you're pushing yourself to go to work, you're pushing yourself to be the performer in the house, to do the cooking, do the cleaning, doing all the things, and you are not receiving any support, you're not creating space to receive support from even yourself, this is not going to work. So you have to be able to then carve out time for your body. Okay, so are you getting good sleep at night? Are you going to bed and are you asleep before 11 p.m.? That is a firm boundary, ladies and gentlemen, that you got to set for yourself. Okay, are you eating nutritious foods? You cannot heal on garbage foods. Now, many of you don't have the luxury of eating Big Macs because your gut would have none of it. But many of you guys are still eating processed, refined carbohydrates, trying to calm your angry belly. So are you relying on whole foods that are rich in nutrients for your body to heal? Right? Feeding your body, allowing it to heal. Are you creating a space where you're fully supporting and showing up for yourself? Because it's not until we do that work for ourselves that we can then extend and ask for more support from the people, places, and things around us. This, I'm going to give you a sort of a removed example. This happens a lot in unhealthy relationships. Okay? Wounded children become wounded adults. And if we don't know how to or don't learn how to love and support ourselves throughout that process, we often look to our spouse to fill that void for us. Instead of learning how to love ourselves, we then put that expectation on our spouse. And we do this when our body is healing as well. So when, again, looking for support, we have to start with internal support, and then we're going to talk about external support. All right, so let's talk about external support. I will never, ever forget, an old friend of mine once said to me, Alyssa, you got to know who is going to have a dance party in the kitchen with you. You got to know who's going to be able to celebrate with you. And sometimes the people that you want to celebrate with you are not going to be able to do that. So for example, have you ever had some really exciting news come into your life? Something really great happened and you call up whoever it is, a family member, it's usually mom or dad or spouse, that you're like, I gotta call this person and tell them. And then they piss in your cornflakes, right? You're so excited. You just got this raise, this new job. And they're like, oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. What do you want me to say? Congratulations, I guess. Like it's super underwhelming, their response. Sometimes they'll even shoot you down, be like, could have done better. Could have done better. Or, well, what about this? You're gonna go do this. Now you're gonna spend less time with your kids. Have you ever had someone piss in your cornflakes like that before? Okay, so when this happens, we have to be reminded that sometimes the people that we really want to celebrate with us aren't going to be capable of that. Same thing when we're healing from our gut issues. Sometimes when you want your spouse or your mom or your dad or your best friend to understand what you're going through and to be able to hold space and support you and hug you when you're crying on the bathroom floor and tell you that everything's going to be okay, that you're going to kick this thing. Sometimes when you want those things from those people, they're not going to be able to give it to you because they don't understand. They haven't lived through your experience. When I was in the thick of recovering from mold and Lyme and the amount of pain that was in my body, still to this day, my family has not been able to understand the level of excruciating pain that I was living in every single day. Not their fault. They weren't experiencing it. And also, I was doing a remarkable job at just pushing through because I had to push through. I had to keep fighting. So they didn't realize how much pain I was in. Your family doesn't realize how much pain you're in, mostly because you are pushing through and just trying to get by, but also because they haven't experienced it. And so external support needs to come from people, places, and things that understand what you're going through. whether that is someone in our group here, our Love Your Guts IBS support group, who is in the same shoes as you, who is experiencing what you're experiencing, and raises their hand and says, yes, me too. I've been there. I've tried that supplement. That shit didn't work. Save your money, right? I understand what it's like to have to wear Depends to work. I understand what it's like to be on laxatives because of my chronic constipation. I understand what it's like to only live in stretchy pants and flowy tops to try to hide my bloating that's happening. I understand what it's like to be terrified to eat because I don't know if there's going to be a reaction. Do you see the difference when you're surrounded by people who understand what you are experiencing? What you realize is you're not crazy. That what you're experiencing makes so much sense. That you're not alone. And this is also why it's so important to have higher levels of external support of people who have been there before and actually gotten out of it too. Because we don't want to get stuck commiserating in the pain with people who are stuck in the pain. We also want to engage with support of people who've been through it, been out of it, and know how to guide you through that too. And so that's the power of having a coach, having some sort of support system and a proven system to help you actually overcome this. To have someone say, I remember this phase. I remember the day that I too was on the bathroom floor crying from a reaction. And I want you to know that that passed. And here's how I passed it. And here's how you can pass it. And here is the way totally through this. That what you're experiencing is temporary if you take these steps to fix it. So having external support of someone who's been in the muck with you and has gone through. Over the last year, every year, I invest thousands of dollars into coaching. Coaching of people who have been there, whether it be in business, whether it be, I have an emotional resiliency coach, master coach, because I want to be the best version of myself. I'm deeply immersed and surrounded by mentors and doctors and scientists who have led the way in me becoming the best practitioner I can be. So it's absolutely important to, when enlisting external support, that you're choosing people who are going to help elevate you, not pull you down and keep you in the muck. So choose wisely. Choose wisely when we're looking for external support. Look for the people who are going to elevate you, raise you up. And look for the people who are going to have a dance party in the kitchen with you, who are going to be your biggest cheerleader, who, even if they don't understand like that raise that you just got, or that like perfect poop that you just nailed, or whatever great news happened for you that day, that they know that when it's time to turn on the bells and whistles and celebrate, they will do so. Because that's what supporting people means, right? So guys, if you feel like you are in the muck, if you feel like you have been in the muck and you are trying to get out and you're feeling lonely on this journey, I want you to first start with internal support and ask yourself, what do I need to do to fully show up for myself so that I feel seen and heard and understood by myself? And the next thing that I encourage you to do is, if you are still feeling like you are in the weeds, then you might like to actually reach out for external support. And if that's where you're at, then I want you to reach back out to us so that we can jump on the phone with you and chat about how we can best support you inside our Love and Trust Your Guts program so that you don't have to be in the muck anymore. When you are fully surrounded by people who are elevating, who are having success, who are jumping forward in overcoming blocks that they haven't been able to overcome in months and years, you are going to feel a whole new energy, a whole new level of inspiration, and you're going to regain hope. When you get out of the weeds, you make progress. So please reach out if you are stuck in the weeds, and we will definitely help you overcome them. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.